Infernal greetings, infernal blessings to all. To know, to dare, to keep silent. Revisited. Why do I bring up this topic again when I did it a couple years ago? I bring it up because it's very important. Very, very important. Uh, Especially when you're on this left-hand path or spiritual path, regardless of what side. This modern day society, as much as they promote certain principles and morality and so on and so forth, is anything but. Well, there's certain principles within the occult, within spiritual traditions, organizations, sacred orders, so on and so forth. And these principles have stood the test of time for a reason. To know is your first step on any journey. But specifically, we're discussing the left-hand path today. To know, that is your curiosity. That is yourself seeking answers for questions you've long had in regards to religious matters, spiritual matters, generational matters, so on and so forth. Knowing is always the first step. The more you question, the more you seek. The more you seek, the more you crave. So knowing is essential. It is the root to the word knowledge. To know leads to having knowledge. But not all knowledge are created equal. And I say that because you have knowledge that doesn't necessarily mean it's based on facts. Then you have those who endeavor to seek as much of the facts that could be obtained within this physical realm that we exist in. And those facts can be related to science, can be related to history, although history is opinionated much of the times because the victor of any event writes the history in their favor. And very few people ever find out what the losers wrote about an event. It is not something people normally research. There's always two sides to every story. The truth is somewhere in the middle. So knowing is very essential in your journey of becoming a black adept on a left-hand path. It is very essential. To dare is very important as well. To dare is to dare yourself to cross the threshold from this physical plane into this plane of force, the spiritual plane, the mental plane, so on and so forth. Is crossing the threshold into Citra Aura, the other side. It is crossing the threshold from the abyss of your subconscious mind to the void of your unconscious mind, where destruction is repeated over and over and over until there is a new birth, a new transformation. So daring is essential as well. You have to have some moxie, some willpower, some substance that pushes you forward beyond the mundane. Or as they say in Arabic, the dunya, the mundane, this worldly existence that we consider to be so true, you push beyond what is the apparent. You push beyond what you have been told about this existence. You push beyond to seek further knowledge that is not obtained within this physical realm. So you have to have that. But what I discuss here today, my main point of bringing this up again, is to keep silent. See, what I've noticed on this sacred left hand path of ours is that there is a dismantling of those old principles. Social media has a lot to do with that. Yes, I'm on social media now, communicating a message to you. Is how social media is used that can affect this last principle to keep silent. What I've noticed, not the only one, because I've discussed this before, but the good brother Edgar Qliphoth brought this up recently as well. What I've noticed is people like to blast their spiritual progress, their spiritual rituals, workings. They love to blast it all over social media, anywhere and everywhere they can. Now, I'm not here to tell people what to do. What I am here to tell you is what I think. Could care less what you think, what your opinions are, and what your beliefs are. That has no effect on me. So therefore, I'm not gonna shut my mouth because you are in a state of what you consider to be correct in your actions. To keep silent means that your spiritual work, your rituals, and so on and so forth are a sacred matter between you and an entity, a force, an archetype, a deity, a demon, so on and so forth. Whatever words you would like to use to make you feel special, it's fine. But people love to broadcast their works as if they're seeking validation, want us to co-sign, or seeking to dupe you by them telling you about their experiences. I stopped reading a lot of books for a reason. But this reason is something I've noticed over and over. When I open a book, a left-hand path book, I do not want to hear about your personal experience. I don't want to hear about your initiation. I don't want to hear about what this deity or God or demon revealed to you. I don't care. I'm not you. And any information like that is skewing my personal experience. It's blurring my personal experience because you're kind of painting a picture of what my results should be. And then I think I'm a failure if I don't meet your results that you described in your book. Now, I understand why people do it. You have to sensationalize certain things to grab the attention of your reader, to make that money grab. Understood. That is your choice. You do that. That is very well for and your choice to do that. However, we're getting away from the fact that your work is something sacred. Your messages you receive in a ritual is something sacred between you and that entity, you and that archetype, you and that primal force. It is not meant for the world to hear what happened between you and that energy or force. This makes me believe sometimes that when people tell us things like this, it didn't really happen. They just have a vivid imagination of what they painted in their mind, how they wanted the activity or the ritual or the event to turn out. And then they're painting that same picture for you so that you go seeking guidance from them. And then you feel like a failure if you don't have something similar to them. Thus, you're always under their arms. You're always stuck under their wings because you feel like a failure and you feel this person must be so much mightier than me to be able to have such grand results and I can't. Usually they don't have those results. Usually those experiences never occurred. They were imagined all in their mind or they came up with the story and put it in a book. Your personal journey is just that, personal. Your spiritual experience is just that, spiritual experience for you. It is not for everybody. It never was meant for everybody. We have held this secret, secret within sacred orders for thousands and thousands of years because we don't want to taint someone else's experience and results by our own personal stories. You're not me and I'm not you, so I can't expect you or paint a picture for you to what you will go through. Now, trust me, there is a commonality of the results that people do have certain experiences that are common. That is like how you verify your experience. But it is not always going to be the same across the board because even though there's commonalities, how you see it, how you experience it, how you feel it, how your five senses, which are really one, all adapt to it is going to be different from person to person, person to person. This is a sacred event that is occurring between you and a primal force, primal energy. This is something that is passed to you for your growth, transformation. It is something that is shared with you for something that you seek to make you more powerful. And then when I hear that these same people can't get the same results, if they do that same ritual again or similar rituals, you wonder why you don't receive results anymore. You cut yourself off. You cut yourself off. Now, do I believe that some of these entities, these primal forces, primal energy, archetypes, whatever the case, give communication to certain people for other people? It's possible. I don't see the need for it. I don't see why it would be done unless that entity is seeking world domination and power and using you as their puppet, using you as just their lowly puppet but propping you up to make you believe that you're something special. But then when it gets what it wants, you're crushed. You're eliminated. You are wiped off the face of this earth or from the minds of the people. I've had guests on my shows before. They've disappeared off the face of the earth. You don't hear nothing about them, not even a squeak, because they played with this information. They played with the sacred events occurring within these rituals that are yours and yours alone as far as your results. They played with it. They use it as a money scheme and everything else. And those people are being destroyed or are destroyed as we speak. There are many in this left hand path community that have actually or are actually going through this process. You guys are playing with fire, straight up playing with fire. People have come into voodoo, and gotten totally demolished because they were big headed. They thought that they had journeyed and learned so much and before to voodoo that I could do anything I want. I could accomplish this. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a sacred tradition that is protected and honored and revered for thousands of years. So, what is the this whole phenomena of blasting your stuff all over social media? What are you trying to accomplish? Because I could guarantee you something. In 2 years, 3 years or less, a lot of you won't even cease to exist as far as being known to people anymore. You'll be erased. The only evidence of your existence will be past videos you left. You'll cease to exist in the minds of many of these people. You playing with fire, and it is something that I really see and notice more and more in this left hand path. This path is a lovely path. It is a lovely path. In the years I've been on this path, it's been wonderful. It's been great. Don't get me wrong. It's also hard, destructive, tears you apart. I mean, pushes you to the limits of what you think you can't handle anymore. It will send people running back to the church. How much it can destroy these people. Usually, those people end up back in the church in places like that. Their arrogance got the better of them. They thought they were above reproach. Sorry, I'm here to tell you that's not true. It's not true at all. No one's above anything. You will be tested on the left hand path. You will be pushed to the limits, your limits, and beyond those limits. Your life will turn into shambles. Your partner that you may have come in with on this path, a lot of times you may not remain with that partner. Most of the people who came to the left hand path, who I've seen in my Patreon classes, who had a partner, are no longer with that partner. I'm just keeping it real. They're no longer together. Something along this journey separated them. And that is, you have to understand something, especially if you're working vampirism, if you're working the tree of Qliphoth, you're working the tunnels of Set. I'm going to just stick to that right there. That tree of Qliphoth, the tree of death, is a shamanistic tree. It's a shamanistic journey or shamanistic, however you want to pronounce it. It is very primal in origin. That tree existed prior to the the primal forces that we attach to it now. And the present day names used for those primal forces now. It predates all of that. It can be found in multiple societies, civilizations, and cultures across this planet. It is not privy to just what we have this modern day Hebrew mysticism. It's not. The Hebrews grabbed it and from civilizations that they visited in their journeys. And these names attached to those primal forces in these journey. But when you are working the tree of Qliphoth, you are working a very shamanistic journey, a process, an initiation. The shells are just that. The Qliphoth gateways are shells. There's a reason it's associated with the shells, associated with shells that are connected with the tree. I mean, sorry, connected with oceans, water. It's connected to gateways. It's connected to things of this nature. It's connected to very earthly magic. It is not the earthly magic that most of us are acquainted with. We're acquainted with this peace, love, and light, walk barefoot in nature, hug a tree, so on and so forth. That's not nature. That is you fluffy new age fools pushing that bullshit. Nature in itself is very primal, very dark, very sadistic, very bloodthirsty, very twisted at times. But you don't realize that because most of you are scared to go into the tree of death, tree of Qliphoth. Most of you are scared of really breaching past this fluffy notion of nature and going into the roots of nature, into the darkness. This is why the tree has roots that run deep. Those roots run deep to the core of this earth. This is why it's steeped in darkness. There's no lights in the soil and the roots for thousands of feet till you get to the center of the earth, but that's another story. It is a reason why the tree of Qliphoth is associated with death. Ashes go back to earth. If you're buried in dirt. Your bones are found in dirt. This is beyond what we can imagine many a times and what we consider just to be a tree of Qliphoth. And we have these Lilith, and we have Naama, and we have Samael, and we have Adramelech, we have Baal, we have Asmodeus or Asmodeus, we have on and on and on. But those are present day names. These forces existed prior to what it is today. It existed prior to any Hebrews or anything existing on this planet. It predates all of that. So when you tap into that, you're tapping into primal forces beyond what you know with these modern definitions and names. Lilith is not her original name. Lilith predates that name. The primal force and energy attached to the name Lilith predates it. It goes back to Sumeria and beyond. It is a primal force, a draconic force. It is very primal in its origin. So I laugh when people say Lilith, and then they give me these modern interpretations of Lilith. Then they give me a modern description of Lilith, which doesn't coincide with the Hebrew. Trust me, it doesn't. For anybody who's done any sense of traveling or met any real Hebrew would know that Lilith would not be pale with red hair. That is a modern interpretation because most of the people who practice the Qliphoth are of European origin, Western, Northern, and Eastern European. So they're describing Lilith as they see her within the context of their culture. But predating that, if we take it back to Sumeria and the ancient tablets of Sumeria, those people of that region were known as the black-headed people, not black-haired, black-headed people, meaning their whole head was black, hair and skin. That would be more akin to what Lilith looks like. Now, I'm not bringing this up for any other reason, just to show you how primal forces can be adapted to cultures and appearances can change over time. And therefore, when you work with it, you have to be understanding of this fact. You have to be familiar with this information and do more research on it than just what is found today. What is the research provided for you today? This is why when you work the Qliphoth, you will find different entities, deities associated with different spiritual traditions, let's say, creeping through the Qliphoth. This is why you could be working the Qliphoth. Let's say you're working with Samael, and Baum Semdi, Baron Semdi shows up. You could be working the Qliphoth with Bao, and Shango shows up. Or Set, Tech shows up of ancient Kemet. They're coming through because you're the one with your ancestral lineage that's bringing them through to you, and they have always been connected to this tree of death long before this modern interpretation. So they come through because the primal gateways have been open for them to come through by your initiatic practices through the 11 Qliphoth. So when you tear away these modern interpretations, you are going to something very primal. And it's not meant for you to play with and share with the world what you are receiving, what you are seeing, and I'm broadcasting it to the world. To keep silent was done for a reason. Your spiritual journey should not be shared with everybody. Your spiritual interpretations are not to be shared with everybody. When you are initiated, you are always put under oath to keep certain things silent. Why? Because the mundane people are not ready for that type of information, and you can destroy them if you give them that information without them having done some work prior to. This is very serious. You reap what you sow. You are putting yourself on Front Street, so you are putting yourself up for anything that happens next. I understand this. I've been teaching since 1995. I've experienced everything you could possibly experience as a teacher. But back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't have technology. Like outside of cameras. We did have cameras. That's why some videos can still be found from back then. The quality is so low because that's all we had back then. And some of those videos. We did things face to face. You guys on social media do not understand. Many of you are young, early to the scene, do not understand what it's like to have 100 people in a classroom and you're lecturing. Then you open yourself up for question and answer because that's what a real lecturer should do. And you're going to be hit from left to right to center field with all kinds of questions. Some people may even attack you, verbally try to attack you. Sometimes it got physically confrontational. It did. I'm not going to lie to you. It did. So social media cut a lot of that out and just created keyboard warriors with people who be behind the scenes typing, 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 and saying all the nonsense, but they'll never meet you face to face. They won't. A lot of them couldn't even stand in your presence because to be a lecturer is to be a warrior. You can't be soft or weak doing this stuff. It will devour you and gobble you up if you soft and weak doing this stuff. We know what it's like to speak one on one, to have discussions one on one, 1 to 100 people, and take questions from everywhere. You had to have study. You had to have walked through that fire. You had to have crossed the hot burning sands to receive the gnosis that you were seeking and going through initiation after initiation to receive. A lot of y'all scared to even do initiation. Mhm. Question some things in today's world, but hey, whatever. Just an older person now, viewing the world from a different perspective than I did when I was back then. But back to the point. Stop broadcasting your shit for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's for you. And you alone. Now, if you want to share it with your close friends who are also walking this path, who y'all have been through this path for years together, yeah, you share it with those people because they can give you good insight and back and forth. But for you to just be out here running your mouth and telling everybody what you think you saw, heard, or felt in a ritual, yeah. A lot of times I understand why I don't see you guys after a few years. I understand why you stop making videos and everything else. I see that. I see that clearly because this is not something you play with, but you guys love to play with this. I mean, literally love to play with this. Everybody swears they're right. That's your right to do that. I'd have no problems with if you feel you're right. That's fine. That's fine. But present the facts. Don't present opinions because you felt or heard or thought you saw something or received something. If it doesn't stand up to the test, then you're gonna have to question what did you really receive or think you received in a initiation or a ritual that you performed. What did you really get if it doesn't stand the test? Because just because I hear something in a ritual doesn't mean I should believe it 100%. Yeah, I know you guys have heard of tricksters, trickster spirits, trickster demons, so on and so forth. Don't get me wrong, the trick is not what you think it is, though. So you you have to test it after you receive something in ritual. And usually how it's tested is everyday life circumstances and experiences. That's when the true test comes from your ritual. You can tell me 1,000 things that you saw in your ritual. You could blast it all over. But if your life doesn't match what you just shared, if your life hasn't produced a change, a transformation from those rituals, then shut up. You're just talking. You ain't changing. You ain't growing. You're not. That's just reality. You're not. You're still stuck under that same mindset, arrogant mindset, wanting to be right, wanting to be Mr. Super Pimp or Miss Super Ho. That's all you want to be. But it has to match your life. If you telling me something, where is the proof in your life? A lot of y'all still broke. You are. How's that? How's what you're doing? How is your work really working for you if you're broke? I'm not saying you have to be super rich, wealthy, so on and so forth, but you do have to have some level of physical comfort because spiritual gnosis leads to spiritual comfort if you apply it into your life properly. If you are still struggling, if you're still going through relationship issues and everything else, you might want to question what exactly are you doing in your rituals and should you be doing it at all? Some of you bypass shadow work. You just literally bypass shadow work. You need to work on the shadow self. And beyond the shadow self, the void, the pure darkness of self. Shadow is still that. A shadow is a casted reflection of light that creates a shadow. So when we say shadow, you're reflecting light. No, in this work we go beyond the shadow, the reflection of light. We go to our pure dark existence. Dark matter, dark energy is pervasive and inclusive of existence as we know it. It is 93 to 96% of existence. Light is only 4% of existence according to quantum physics and new physical and scientific data. So that's why I laugh when the light workers and fluffy workers harp on their light side work. No, you're one-sided. You're not integrated, harmoniously integrated, which you guys will call balance. But I don't use balance for a reason. Those of y'all who listen to me for years know why I don't use it. You're not integrated. You're one-sided. People think of the left-hand path, oh, you guys are just dark, dark, dark. No, that's not why people are dark on the left-hand path. We're dark because we've been blinded by the light since our inception or since our existence on this earth. We've been flooded with the light, bombarded with the light, the peace, love, and light, the light religions, the light spirituality. We were bombarded. A lot of us came through Christianity, Islam, Judaism. A lot of us came through certain spiritual orders, systems on the right path, a right hand path. We got flooded with it. And if we were flooded in that for 30 years, and let's say you're 40 years old, you were flooded in the light for 30 years, yes, to bring integration, you're going to have to be pretty dark for a long time. You're going to have to be pretty dark for a long time. That doesn't mean that you can't integrate the two, but it may take longer than you think because you're so bombarded by the light that in order for you to bring some kind of integration, balance, integration, you're going to have to do some serious, serious, serious work in the dark. Serious work in the dark. It cannot be something minuscule. It cannot be something that's half-assed. You have to do serious work in the dark. There's no way around it. No cutting it, no playing. There's no way around it. You have to do serious work. The problem is if you recently came to the left-hand path and you're bringing that garbage here, you're not going to get very far. You're going to be confused, which happens quite often on this path. This is why you empty out your cup. Your cup, the cup that's full, is symbolic of all you think you know, all the knowledge you have, and all the knowledge you obtained before you came into the left-hand path is in that cup, full. So you have no more room to accept anything else. This is why when you come on the left-hand path, you empty your cup. Everything you think you know, you don't. This is the adverse path. We deal with the opposite, the total opposite of what you thought you knew, of everything you experienced and went through. We deal with the complete opposite. If your mind is filled with all this knowledge you had, all this concepts and ideas and stuff that you learn on that path, that's a problem. Because there's no more room for you to learn anything else. You already think you know everything. Your arrogance will eventually destroy you on this path. Empty your cup out. Start fresh. All right. So, couple announcements. I know I put this brief video out yesterday, investing in your future. That class will be Friday, the 21st of March at 8 p.m. These are for people who want to learn how to fix their credit, people who want to learn how to work LLCs, the proper structure, LLC, holding companies, so on and so forth. We go through all of that, okay? And we go and give homework assignments as far as creating your own LLC, and then we're going to seek funding. How do you get funding? So on and so forth. So we got a lot to discuss this time around. The investing in your future class is only 4 times in a year. Every quarter, business quarter, or the business quarterly, which is 4 times throughout the year, we have the class. All right. Secondly, the necromancy class on and popping. We just did a ritual about we just learned how to do a death curse. A death curse. Okay, now you're gonna learn how to create a plague. Okay, that's the necromancy class. The awakening sleeping dragon class, which is the introduction to vampirism. We're learning how to astral travel, and eventually we're gonna get to astral shattering. How to shatter someone's astral body. It's another story for another time for those who join the class. You think you're a vampire, that's all good. A lot of you guys are fluffy fashion vamps. You have no idea what true vampirism is. It's very primal, raw, and beast-like. If you ain't ready for it, don't join. If you are, if that's what you're really seeking, then come on in. Okay? Then we have the uh the Order of the Black Serpent, which is the vampiric order that we have. And that we just finished our uh working for the 7 vampiric spiritual alchemical stages. We used all 7 stages of spiritual alchemy from a vampiric and Sith Lord perspective to be reborn again. Now we're going to start preparing for the communion. If you don't know what the communion is, then you need to get involved with vampirism. If you haven't had a communion as a vampire, you might not really be a vampire, but that's another story. Okay. We're doing the shadow work. We're just doing a shadow work ritual with Set. I'm going to put a poll out for the shadow work class to see if they want to go back to the throat chakra. No rush because we could finish the throat, the brow, and the crown at any point in time. We don't have to squeeze it all in now. We can finish it before the end of this year. Or you want to do another shadow work, hardcore shadow work with these primal forces that'll rip you apart over and over and put you back together again, hopefully renewed. Then we have the mentorship class. Mentorship class is just that, it's a mentorship class. I mentor people one on one. That is one of my favorite classes to do because one on one gets deep. The classes get deep. Then we have the Tunnels of Set class with my brother, Demetrius Clark, teaches that. Demetrius is very proficient in creating and working rituals in that path. Okay? That is there for you all as well. Patreon classes you could join at any point in time. Everything is archived. So, in other words, yes, although we may be at a certain point, let's say in a tunnel set, doesn't mean that you can't join still. It's archived. The videos for the very first ritual in a tunnel set, because we did it in a different pattern with anti-Faxath. That first ritual and video is there. So when you join, let's say you join that class, the tunnels of set, you have access to all the archive material for your membership tier, which is Tunnels of Set. So you just keep scrolling where it says load more. You keep going until you get to the first ritual, Dante Faxath, with the video. And then you keep going at your pace. Now that means you can attend the current classes to get your questions answered. Doesn't matter if we're on a certain tunnel and you're not there yet. You still attend the live videos chats that we have so that you can get your questions answered from where you're at, but also you can get insight on what you will learn about or encounter when you get to those tunnels. After the tunnels are set, which we will finish by the end of this year, we will transition into the Qliphoth itself. Once again, we're going to do a full Qliphoth class with Demetrius running the show. I'm going to assist in that. And we're going to get it nitty and gritty, down dirty, nitty and gritty in the tunnels. In the Qliphoth. Like I said earlier, it's very shamanistic. very primal, and people are going to start seeing more and more why I keep saying that as they go further along in that journey. Okay? So these are the things that are currently occurring on the Patreon classes, Patreon membership. In the near future, we are going to do a sexual vampirism class. Once we finish up with the introduction to vampirism, the Awakening Sleeping Dragon introduction, we are going to do a sexual vampirism class. This is a topic I've been wanting to do for a long, very long time, but everybody thinks they're the kingpin or the queenpin of sex, so people, you can't tell them nothing. Yet, most of these people have no idea what the science of sex is, what the alchemy of sex is. All they know is how to bust a nut, Pound Town, USA, and that's it. That is not how you receive sexual gnosis, but we'll leave that there for now. All right? So, my peoples, it's been good. It's been fun. Eventually, I will get back to doing live YouTube classes, but right now, my plate is full. My schedule is jam-packed. And so, everything I focus on is for people who really want to do the work and not just watch people on videos and not just hear me run my mouth and do nothing about it. If you're serious about your life and serious about your transformation, then you'll join when you feel you want to. And if you don't, you don't. No sweat off our backs. I have one belief when it comes to doing classes, and one belief only. I'd rather have quality than quantity. I don't care about quantity. I don't care how many people are in the class. I care about if you join the class, you're serious and you're here to do some serious work for your transformation. I get no benefit off of your transformation. You get the benefit. My joy comes in from seeing people grow and transform. That's why I do it. I'm passionate about that because I see how this path has transformed my life, still transforming my life to this very day, and it'll still continue to transform me. I'll still go through life and death, spiritual destruction and transformation till my death, my physical death, is upon us. So while I'm kicking, breathing, walking, and talking, I'm going to be teaching as much as I can because this is one of my passions. And one major thing I learned as a Sith is your passion is everything. Your passion is what fuels you. Your passion is what pushes you forward. Your passion is what makes you want to research and learn. Your passion is what leads you to want to transform and become powerful. Your passion is everything. It is everything. Without that fuel, that passion, you can't even take a step in the morning. You'll just sit on your bed in a comatose state, unable to move because that fuel hasn't pushed you forward to encounter a new day and master that day. Your passion should be paid attention to closely. Now, I have a Patreon page for Sith alone. I am ramping up a lot of the Sith work that I currently uh, had merged with the spiritual alchemy for the vampirism and the Sith side. I'm back onto the Sith focus right now. And we have created an eightfold path of Sith. Eightfold path. This is not like anything else out there. Some people have breached it, touched it. It's not on. No, listen. It's not like anything out there. I understand sometimes I could be cocky. It's okay. People don't misunderstand. There's arrogance and cockiness. Being cocky to a point is good. Being arrogant, it leads to a lot of BS. So yes, I can be a little cocky and proud of the work I've put in and some of the things I do. But I'm not going to boast and brag about it and show the world, look at how great I am. I don't care. I don't need your approval or validation. I'm happy with what I do. And that Sith work that's coming up, eightfold Sith path, is going to be something serious. Okay? The classes for this month are at the end of the month. They start, I believe, March 28th, I believe, is when the first classes for this month begin. Okay? So you have time to join if you want to. The classes for this month will be at the end of this month. If you want to join the Sith, you go to the patreon.com Sith Temple of Darkness and you join the Eightfold Sith Path. If you're currently in the Sith Temple of Darkness, then change over to the Eightfold Path. Change over to the Eightfold Path before the end of the month because we getting nitty gritty on this Eightfold Path of the Sith. It is something that I've been looking forward to. It's something that I really have embraced, and it's going to be next level. All right. All right. Infernal blessings to you all. Y'all have a good one. If you want to get in touch with me, I forgot to mention this, and I updated it on the Temple of the Black Serpent page on YouTube. I got to update it somewhere else, but I forget where right now. If you want to contact me about the Sith, email me at Sithnosis. Gnosis, however you want to pronounce it. I say Gnosis. Screw you if you like it or not. Sithnosis at gmail.com. That's Sith, Sith, Gnosis, Gnosis at gmail.com. Sithnosis at gmail.com. The YouTube page, that's what I forgot. I have a YouTube page for the Sith classes where all the Sith videos will be posted on the Sith classes will be on Sith Gnosis YouTube page. Join the Sith Gnosis YouTube page. If you've been watching me for a long time by the Temple of the Black Serpent YouTube page, some of y'all do me a favor, go and just subscribe to the Sith Gnosis class on YouTube. Even if you're down with the Sith or not, you're gonna receive some different kind of information in regards to the Sith that relates to the left hand path. If, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion, the Sith is the embodiment of the left hand path. It is. Now you may say, "Oh, that's just George Lucas. That's fictitious, so on and so forth." But a lot of you chaos magicians, so-called chaos magicians, understand the concept. That's utilized a lot on the left hand path. How to utilize any system or anything you choose to for your growth. The Sith, its principles and philosophies, its rituals and workings are the embodiment of the left hand path in modern day time. To me, it's not always lightsabers and us fighting and all kinds of stuff. No. All right. So join that page, subscribe to that page on YouTube. Even if you down with it or not, just subscribe to it. You'll see new content there that won't be on the Temple of the Black Serpent YouTube page anymore. I'm putting the YouTube stuff on Sith Gnosis for a reason. And the Temple of the Black Serpent will deal with just the topics of necromancy, tunnels of Set, Qliphoth, vampirism, so on and so forth. All right. Infernal blessings to all, and to all a great evening.